Hey guys, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. The Kamala Harris campaign is on a new offensive against Donald Trump over his comments about sending the military after the enemy within. It includes a new ad and a little addition to her Stump speech, which she gave tonight, just finished in Erie, Pennsylvania. So I wanted to cover that and then maybe one other ad that she is up with to give you guys the latest here this evening. So first, let's look at this ad discussing the enemy within.
Donald Trump, more dangerous, more erratic than ever before.
Echoing fascists.
The worst people are the enemies from within.
The enemy from within are more dangerous than Russia.
We have some very bad people. It should be very easily handled by the military.
I do remember the day that he suggested that we shoot people on the streets.
A second term would be worse. There will be no one to stop his worst instincts. Unchecked power, no guardrails. If we elect Trump again, we're in terrible danger.
We're in terrible danger. And look what's on the screen there. A risk we can't afford. This is something Bill Kristol and I were talking about a couple weeks ago. Can you try to frame in the final few weeks Donald Trump as a risky choice? I have some conversations coming up on this feed, which you can watch, where you can see me test this out with some people who are on the fence, or at least one person who's on the fence. And I think that it's potentially compelling for people that need that final nudge, either the final nudge to not vote for him, kind of Republicans who know he's bad, or on the other side of the spectrum, the final nudge to somebody that, is maybe a little apathetic and you're trying to convince them to vote, not that excited about Kamala, but thinking about the risk from the other side. A risk we can't afford, too dangerous. I think that is a good frame for the final few weeks if you just think about the types of people that you're trying to talk to if you're the campaign. I also want to flag in the ad there that our friend Olivia Troy, who I interviewed here on this feed a little while ago, is once again featured, a former Trump official. I think that's smart. Again, it brings an air of authority to the types of voters that you want to get, right, who are people who maybe voted for Trump once or maybe even twice. Having a Trump official like them talk about the risk, I think, is important. Talking about how he wanted to shoot people also brings a little bit more authority to this notion that this isn't just the tweets. It isn't just mean tweets. It isn't just his rhetoric. He had good people around him last time. He didn't really have good people. He had some barely responsible people around him last time, people who had a modicum of appreciation for following the bare minimum rule of law, who talked him out of his craziest ideas, is maybe a more apt way to put it. But this time he's not going to have that. So if that was his suggestion last time, if that was his instinct, he wanted to shoot people, well, what happens next time he's in power when there's nobody around there to say no? People are going to get shot when the looting starts, the shooting starts, as Donald Trump said. So, I just think that frame within the ad is strong. Then you see her tonight on the Stump. Kamala uses a very tight Stump speech. If you've seen her Stump speech, you've seen 90% of what she does, which is good. It's discipline. That's normal. It's how politicians normally did it before, Donald Trump's Borscht Belt stand-up routine. And so it's notable, what we used to do, for example, just a little behind the scenes. So for like the Romney campaign in 2012, what we would have is there'd be a topper, which would be at the top of the speech, a couple sentences on the news of the day, or maybe a couple sentences on a new ad campaign we were running, something to get the media to focus on the new thing. And so she did that. It wasn't a topper in this case, so they do it a little differently. But the point was the same. They teased this out for the press that it was coming. And then at the venue, they showed, not this ad, but kind of a different version of Trump talking about the enemy within. And then the vice president spoke about it a little bit. Let's just watch a little bit of that.
We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
So you heard his words. You heard his words coming from him. He's talking about the enemy within Pennsylvania. He's talking about the enemy within our country, Pennsylvania. He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country.
People that are Americans. It's not immigrants across the border. It's not people in some faraway land. It's not even criminals. It is the radical left, he calls it. And he included Adam Schiff among the people who are in the radical left in recent remarks. So, like, he wants to target his political foes. He wants to target anyone that protests. He wants to target, journalists that speak out against him, et cetera, et cetera. So, he's saying it. It's all right there. And it's just a fundamental different category from the way that he talks about other issues. And if he keeps focusing on this, the enemy within, well, if you're within this country, that should be something that frightens you, or it should be something that alarms you. And I think that making the case to others that this is just too risky. You just don't know if he's going to be able to do this. He will want to do it. Is that really worth the risk? I don't think so. All right, so then there's one other ad that they have out today that they're airing in Arizona. It features Mesa Mayor John Giles. If a never-Trumper Republican speaking out for Kamala Harris is going to get attention anywhere, it should be right here on the Bulwark YouTube page. So I just want to show you guys that ad that the Harris campaign is running in Arizona.
In cities like mine, folks look out for each other. They put their community first. I'm a lifelong Republican, but I've always put country over party. And I know Donald Trump's second term would be all about himself. That's why, like so many other Republicans, I cannot support Donald Trump. Kamala Harris and I may not agree on everything, but I do know that she will always put country first. If we're going to make progress as a country, we have to have an adult in the White House. That's why I'm supporting Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Pretty good ad. I mean, it's softer than this other topic we're talking about, right? You don't see John Giles with his hair on fire warning people about the grave risk and danger of Donald Trump targeting American citizens with the military. You see him more from a soft standpoint talking about how Donald Trump's only going to care about himself. Kamala Harris cares about the country. We can work together. You can trust her to be bipartisan. We're going to disagree on a few policies, but we're going to work through that together. I mean, that is an ad that is just a bullseye for trying to reach John McCain voters. And that's just all this is. He's trying to find these college-educated, mostly middle to high income, white, John McCain voters. That is who this ad is for. That is a key demographic in Arizona. Those voters were crucial in making sure Katie Hobbs beat Kari Lake in the midterms and Joe Biden beat Trump in 2020. And they're going to be needed again if Kamala Harris is going to win in 2024. So good on John Giles for putting himself out there like that. And we will keep monitoring everything that's going on in the ad game. And I'll be back here tomorrow with the Bulwark Podcast. So subscribe to this feed. Make sure you're getting the information. Send it to a friend. Give us a thumbs up. We'll see you all soon. Peace.